Update. Am I the a-hole for not helping my ex after he left our business? Original story. I, female 29, met my ex Ben, male 29, in college and started a business right after our senior year. Our relationship often got toxic, but I think being business partners kept us together. Eventually, our business started having financial troubles. Ben comes from wealth, so I asked him to get a loan from his parents, which he agreed to. 2 months later, Ben suddenly asked for all the money back. We were always planning to pay it, but we had mutually decided on manageable installments, and I was not in a position to return all of it at the same time. Ben said his father was very sick, and since he was in retirement, his health insurance situation was tricky. This seemed particularly odd to me because 1, Ben did not give me any details on his sickness. 2, he didn't let me call his mother because she was grieving and couldn't talk about finances. 3, Mom had more than enough money to pay for his treatment. Every time I tried to investigate, he asked me to trust him, and that's what I did. Getting the money back was an ordeal. We had already invested all of it in the business, and I had to take some out and even give away all of my personal savings. About 3 weeks after this, Ben called me to tell me that we are done. He also wanted out from the business, and the only other time I saw him was with lawyers when we were dividing our business assets and he was withdrawing his name from all of the official documents. I was devastated. In addition to all the emotional trauma, I had virtually no finances to fall back on and moved back in with my mother for a bit. I never heard from Ben, and after talking to some of our mutual friends who were on my side, I found out that Ben's father was not actually sick. I wasn't surprised. 5 years later, I never gave up on my business, and slowly it grew and helped me pay all of my debts and live a comfortable life. I heard from some friends that both of Ben's parents passed away, but I didn't pay it much heed. In the midst of lockdown, I got an email from Ben. I knew this was not going to be good, but I responded, guided by my curiosity to know what he did with all that money. His parents had cut him out of their will, and he had a child with a woman who abandoned them. He also got laid off because of COVID, and he told me he was struggling to feed his son. Told me that since he was instrumental to the business foundation, he deserved a cut from it now that it was successful. When I asked him about the money, he said his parents were pressuring him, which I did not believe. They were always on board with his frivolous purchases and knew me well enough to tell me if they wanted it back. I consulted my lawyer, who said Ben had no legal claims to the business. But when I told my best friend about it, she said that she was appalled by the fact that I didn't give it a second thought, especially because he was responsible for the business idea, and his initial investment was twice as much as mine. She thinks I'm an a-hole, so I'm here to find out. Now for the top comments before reading the update. That's a clear not to the a-hole. Congratulations to you for persevering with the idea long enough to make it a success. Exactly. Very clear not to the a-hole. No idea why any friend would suggest otherwise, actually. I met her through him. She says she has always liked me more and hasn't spoken to him since the debacle, but I don't know how true that is anymore. I mainly consulted her because she knew the entire story thoroughly, but now it seems like she has a massive conflict of interest. He lied about his father being sick. He is probably lying about the child. Do not let your friend guilt trip you. The guilt trip is spot on. My friend told me that since I struggled financially at some point, I should have empathy because he is in the same situation now. He hasn't changed, or he would have reached out to you to apologize at some point over the years. He's only reaching out because he wants money now. It's highly doubtful his parents didn't leave him money. He is a liar. If his son is hungry, there are tons of free programs for food during the pandemic. I get emails weekly from my kid's school about resources to free meals. Your best friend sucks. You are not the a-hole. You don't owe your ex at all. You did the work, so you get to reap the rewards. She usually tries to play the devil's advocate, but I think this time she took it too far. And now for the update. It's been some time since I posted this, but I wanted to thank all of you for steering me in a clear direction. The volume of responses was overwhelming, and I'm sorry for not getting back to all of you. Now for the update. My ex does really have the son, and I was able to verify this. I also found out that he wasn't cut out of his parents' will. The money simply just wasn't as much as he was expecting. Even though he did lose his job, he had a lot of fallback money. I also forgot an important detail in my first post. I recently did an interview in a local newspaper about my business, and my ex may have read that and found out that my business was doing well. Since I didn't need that money, my only explanation for why he reached out to me is that he felt entitled to my success and the money I made. Now about my friend. She admitted that he reached out to her before he emailed me, but later after some coaxing, she told me that they had been speaking casually for some years. I'm not the most confrontational person, so I cut her out of my life. And yesterday, I found out through Facebook that they're engaged. Well, one last thank you. I am admittedly a gullible person, and you all helped me not get played. Yesterday, I found out through Facebook that they're engaged. Oh, this actually made me chuckle. Sounds like they deserve each other. True, true. Train wreck coming down the track. Congrats on the business success and in not getting sucked into their scam. Sounds like you've learned some valuable lessons, without too much long-term damage. What a crappy friend. She wanted to coax Opie to give her future fiancé money. Yeah, a couple of con artists, those two. I really hope things go better for you, Opie. I'm glad you got that toxicity out of your life. Stay safe, Opie. Your ex and your ex-friend deserve each other. Congrats. I know, right? Opie, you deserve a partner who will cherish and love you forever. I really hope you find that, be it a romantic or platonic partner. Really sucks that your friend wasn't on him trying to scam you. Stick to your guns and protect yourself and your business, cause no way is a part of it. Hope you stay safe and can stay afloat. Well, more than anything, it has been a learning experience. Thank you for your wishes. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for rejecting conditional help? My boyfriend, 26 male, and I, 26 female, have been together for about 3 years now. We spent the past year living together and watched his mom die of cancer. It was brutal, but I was always with him. We just got our own place. Boyfriend has an office job while my work is in flux. Moving without a secure job made me nervous, so boyfriend offered to pay more than half our rent. I didn't accept, so we didn't discuss it further. I lost more income this month, so very nervously, I began to ask boyfriend if he was able to cover about $150 more for 1 to 2 months, less than he offered. I asked generally. He was tepid, but he said sure, he could help. The next morning, we fought, and related to finances. I was upset and took an hour walk. Long story, but boyfriend said that by being gone longer than 20 minutes, I wasn't respecting him. He said that now he thinks about it, he isn't comfortable helping me with rent. He brought it up again until I addressed the comment specifically. I told boyfriend that I thought this was an appropriate way and time in which to bring up sensitive logistics, and it felt manipulative. He told me his help is conditional, especially the money. He will not help me if I don't treat him well. The fact he offered to help me with rent in the past doesn't matter. He said he has money to spare, but the fact that I just assumed he had a comfortable income, or that he would help because he offered to help before, is disrespectful. He wanted me to know that his withdrawing of support is repercussion of my behavior / the argument. I told him I understood his discomfort and I'm sorry, but I won't rely on you for financial support if it's conditional. I can't rely on you if it means I walk in eggshells, anxious about fighting with you or upsetting you in case you withdraw help anytime we argue. I will pay my own way and figure it out. Your money is yours and I won't count on it. Hey, his money is his money. I'm not upset it doesn't feel comfortable helping me, but I am about the discussion and conditions. However, when I said I didn't want his help, he got very upset and angry. He said that the only reason I felt trust had been broken was because I wasn't viewing things objectively, and if I was more empathetic, I would see that he was right. He yelled after me, "What? So you don't want my help at all anymore? Because if so, I'm going to backcharge you for half of your birthday, etc. Is that what you want? I want you to tell me before I tally everything up." I told him to stop goading me and leave me alone. Am I the a-hole for believing that after everything, his help shouldn't just be conditional? I'm not entitled to his money. Never. But if he agrees to do something, isn't it wrong to make his help totally dependent on if he deems my behavior appropriate or respectful enough? Am I the a-hole for saying that I don't want to rely on him out of fear he'll rescind his help if I step out of line? And I feel uncomfortable that he would leverage logistical aspects of our lives in unrelated arguments? Not the a-hole. It seems incredibly controlling and manipulative. Don't take his help under any conditions, and take steps to make sure he cannot financially control you in any way. I think you are spot on in seeing red flags here. And honestly, eventually everyone is in a position to need help. Maybe you should find a partner who you can be vulnerable to without fear of reprisals. Incredibly controlling. That's why he was so angry when she said she didn't want his help. Because he thought he had found a way to control her. Red flag galore. Agreed. And he still tried to find ways to hold it over her head by threatening to backcharge her for birthday gifts. What the actual hell? Not the hell. Literally explicitly told you that he plans to hold money over your head and use it to control your behavior and force you to act however he wants. Shy of actually standing in front of you and saying the words, "From this point on, I will be using my more secure financial position to financially mistreat you." There is no way he could make it any more clear that that's what he's doing. Yep, exactly what I was thinking. Pretty sure I first saw it on here, but when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Not a-hole. He's trying to financially control you. Stay independent and run from this relationship as fast as you can. If you have his child, you're screwed. It's scary how explicit he was about it. Like he told her he was going to financially abuse her. Usually it happens slowly over time, but he just came right out and said it. I hope he needs to get away from him as soon and as quietly as she can. That is so not okay. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for being upset my husband upgraded my engagement ring and changing it back? My husband and I didn't really have a spontaneous proposal. We just mutually agreed we wanted to get married on next date. I told him that for my engagement ring I wanted to wear my late mom's. It's a simple gold band with a small diamond on its own. My husband wanted to add onto it and make it fancy, but I honestly loved it as is, and I'm not into big flashy jewelry. He reluctantly agreed and I started wearing it not long after. When it came to pick out wedding bands, I chose one similar to his, gold and not flashy. I could tell he was disappointed that I didn't want a traditional band. Fast forward 10 years and our anniversary was a couple of weeks ago. I can't wear jewelry at work and we have 3 young kids, so I tend to not wear my rings anymore unless we're going out to eat or there's a special occasion. I keep both in my jewelry box. Every year for our anniversary, birthdays, and Christmas too, we just flat out tell the other what we want so there's no confusion. This year was my turn to treat for our big dinner, and he wanted this pricey tool bench that he could use for his hobby. I told him all I wanted was a new purse and sent him the link. Come our anniversary, he gets his tool bench and is over the moon. I notice my gift is smaller than a purse should be and open it. It's my engagement ring, but basically supersized. There's a few other diamonds, and he added an inscription. The cost of all of this was way more than the $40 purse I wanted. I was in shock and asked why he did that. He said to surprise me. I said that I liked the ring as is. It's been in my family for a few generations, and he basically ruined it by glamming it up. He got upset and started calling me ungrateful, even though I've told him several times throughout the years that I don't like flashy rings and I wanted to keep it the same. He refused to tell me where he got it done, so I had to do some digging and paid for it to be mostly reverted into its original state, though they were wary about removing the inscription as the ring is so old. I did end up paying a hefty chunk. My husband is continuing to call me ungrateful and says it was a present. I told him I didn't like it, and he should have checked with me before making those changes. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. That was incredibly insensitive and selfish of him. I have no idea why he didn't just get you a flashy anniversary ring if it matters to him that you have a flashy ring that you would then never wear. Damaging your family's heirloom for his ego makes no sense to me. I would be dragging him to couples counseling so someone else can take the time to explain why what he did is awful. My bet is that he thought when she wears a flashy ring, everyone would think her hubby's so great to buy her such an expensive ring. If the ring is plain, the people think that her hubby is stingy and they feel bad for her. So it was a present for his ego. He is an insensitive a-hole. I would let him sleep on the couch till he knows he did something really wrong. Not Dayhall. Not Dayhall. He messed with a family heirloom just so you will wear a ring which flatters his ego. And he basically got a gift for himself instead of a gift for her. If he was so hell-bent on getting a flashy ring, why not an eternity ring? Lots of people do that for the 10th. To destroy an heirloom ring is beyond selfish and ignorant. Not Dayhall. Not Dayhall. You told him numerous times you didn't like flashy jewelry, and you didn't want nothing done to your late mother's ring. He betrayed your trust, took the ring and had it done his way without even telling you. To top it all off, it didn't even belong to him. All that money he put into upgrading that ring, he could have easily put into getting a ring he liked, instead of touching your late mother's ring. That's the sole reason I'm furious for you, OP. He could have went and picked out any ring at the jewelry shop, but he took the one that meant the most to you, and basically destroyed it in a sense. And you were lucky to have it restored. When he calls you ungrateful next time, tell him you at least didn't betray his trust or boundaries or your mother's memory like he did. That'll shut him up right quick. Not to mention that he wouldn't even tell her where the changes were made when she was trying to fix it. Then didn't even cover the cost of undoing the damage he did. Not only did he give a gift that she explicitly didn't want, but then she had to pay to undo it while he refused to help her. Not Dayhall at all. And I really hope she's noticing all of the red flags here beyond the many obvious ones. This guy's behavior is awful on so many levels.